there guys, welcome back to part 2 of Vagabond Motorcyclist. This is a two-part series of me restoring my Royal Enfield Standard 500. If you haven't watched the first part, go ahead, watch the first part and then come back to this one. Things will make a lot more sense. So I started off with taking apart my motorcycle and getting it back. I'm in the process of getting it back together. So today is the day I actually get all my stuff from paint. Now, I am really excited about this. I might not show it, but I am super excited about this. I'm really hoping it's come out to the way I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be exactly like how it rolled out from the factory. Now, saying that, what I also wanted to do is make sure that it has all the possible original parts. So if you did see the mudguards that I had mentioned in the previous part, I didn't end up putting those, but I managed to source original mudguards that came out on this motorcycle when it rolled out of the factory. So I am really excited about that, and I'm hoping and praying that it comes out to the way I wanted to. I did everything that I could in terms of making sure that, you know, I source the right parts and I make sure that I get everything from the right person. But then again, there have been delays as these things work out to be with getting the parts and putting them back together, or getting them painted, or taking some parts for powder coating, or whether it was getting them buffed. I did not get the parts back all in one piece, but I managed to get them piece by piece, which means I did not get to do a time-lapse video of us putting all the stuff back together. Now, that being said, I've still tried to take a few pictures and gonna try and put it all together and see how it plays out. Well, that being said, let's get to it.
So as you can see over here, some of the stuff has been powder coated that we're going to reuse. Remember, when you powder coat things and before you paint it, you have to go over the powder coating with about a 180 grit sandpaper. That kind of helps the primer and the paint to stick on better to the surfaces that you powder coated. Now, when it comes down to the color, we wanted to get something done in a grayish, because there was a limited edition that came out in the late 90s that we were trying to achieve. We were trying to get the color, but because there are no bikes that are preserved that well, we couldn't really get the exact color that we thought of. Trust me, we did try again and again. As you can see, we did try to get as close to that color as possible, but it was just a hit or miss. You know, we tried to match it, but it just wasn't looking the way I was comfortable with. So we decided to go with the iconic gray, the ones that the Royal Enfield came out with. The iconic gray, we just put in a little more shine into the color, and not too glossy of a lacquer, but you know, just medium right out there, just so that I would give it that nice real get up, if you may. We also had to color the tank into gold, or we had to paint the tank gold before we actually got into painting it to the color that we desired. So what we had to do was we painted the tank gold, then took it to a sticker guy to kind of make a stencil for us, so that you know, the outline or the lines on the bike would look the way it really rolled out of the factory. So we had to make a stencil out of what we wanted to stay in gold, and then we actually painted the actual color that the bike was supposed to be painted over those stickers, so that it would stay gold. And then we had to peel the stickers off, had the gold underlay there, and then lacquer it on top of that. There's a small little process that I will show you of the stickering. However, I couldn't make it to when he was peeling off the sticker, so I do apologize for that. And like I said, we did get the stuff back in, you know, parts. So I couldn't do a time lapse of him putting the bike together, just because it didn't work that way, and it would have taken way too long. It would have been way long of a process for us to get that done all in one day. And there it is. So it is complete. As you can see, it really does look good. There is a lot of shine in the color, a little more than what I would like, but it's turned out to look pretty much the way I imagined it would. So I'm really happy with the coloring. What we're checking right now is to see how many dust particles have settled onto the paint. But the toolboxes look absolutely amazing. I still have to go over the tank, which I will in a bit, but absolutely amazing toolboxes. There's a lot of sparkle in them, as you can see. And going over to the tank, looks pretty good. If you check out the Enfield logo, looks like it's come out pretty good. Inside as well, looks pretty okay. Just the edge there at where the fuel goes in, I think I might have to work on that a little bit, but otherwise looks pretty good, top and bottom. Yeah, really pretty happy with the way things have turned out. So this is the air filter cover, which looks pretty awesome as well. I like the way it's been done, and the mudguards as well look pretty cool with that small little goldish line right there on them. And if you look at the inside of the toolboxes, they're a little rough, but you know, that's how they're meant to be. And then the outside is where they really start shining. The lacquer looks really nice. Very happy. So let me give you an example of why I did this the way I wanted. You know, the gold and then the sticker on top of it and then the actual color. As you can see, this tank right in front of us, it's been done by a local stickering guy. And if you look at it correctly, now the dent in it is put by the guy who actually took the tank for stickering. It came back with a dent, so these guys are trying to fix the dent now in the tank. My point being, if you look at the lines, just look at the left side and the right side. It's not really accurate, you know, and this is what I didn't want happening, and that's why I didn't go for a sticker, is because these things tend to happen unless properly measured over and over again to make sure that the lines are right. And that's exactly why I didn't want to go just with a sticker. So now they're gonna have to, because there's a dent in it now, and I think they're just going to let the lines be because, I don't know, the owner just doesn't care, or I mean, I'm clueless as to why. But as you can see, he's filling in, he's kind of scraping it down first, and then going to fill in some putty, smoothen that out, go over with it with about 3 different kinds of sandpaper, water it down with water and sandpaper, and then repaint just that portion of the tank. And it should work because there was no damage to the metal. So it was just like a little scrape over the tank. So I guess this is how he's gonna fix it. But you know, this is exactly why I didn't want the stickering to be done, because it can get all bent out of shape. And even though it can be replaced, people don't generally do that, and it doesn't look really authentic. Even once lacquer goes on top of this, there will still be that bump in the surface of the tank, letting people know that this is a sticker and not paint. There is not a guy around here who gets this pinstriping done by hand. I did check out some of his work. I really didn't like it, just my personal opinion. However, I am glad that I did it this way, which is the longer way. But as you can see, you see the results, and tell me, compare it to the stickering job that you just saw before this, and you be the judge. Let me know in the comment section. So that's all the stuff there wrapped in newspaper. Man, look at that. I still can't believe that that thing turned out the way it did. Looks pretty amazing. And I still want to get another second peek at Really impressed with what it's turned out to be. Look at that, the shine to that thing, and knowing that that's all painted and no stickering, absolutely amazing. Coming back to fitting everything onto the bike, checking out the spacings between the two mudguard stays. Then we're going to fit the mudguard on after that. Check the spacings to make sure that the tire doesn't touch the mudguards. Again, these were new mudguards that we sourced mid-project, so we just have to make sure that we align them properly, and once that's done and the seat goes on, got to make sure that everything fits in the way it's supposed to. So now coming back to the toolbox, we just noticed that this side toolbox is a little inward. So we're going to have to put a spacer right in between there to make sure that it pushes out a little bit. But that should be an easy fix for us. Let's see how we manage to do that. Just put a spacer right in between there just to pop it out a little bit. Should be okay, should be an easy fix. Let's see. Most of the stuff is already fitted on to the bike. Put in number plate, side lights, wiring's been pulled through. Just doing a final touch on the points there. Right shoulder, we've set that up, so it should fire up pretty much as soon as we kickstart it. Let's see how this goes. Coming back, just checking all the locks on the bike, make sure that everything fits properly. I'm going to put in that spacer now so that we make sure that, you know, the toolboxes sits right and the angling is correct. And looking at it now, we're just going to take the frame and the engine, whatever parts we assemble, for a quick wash before we put the tank on. So we did change the oil and all the filters and gaskets and everything, so we just wanted to give it a quick wash right next door at the service station, just to make sure that even if there's any oil spilled onto parts of the engine and stuff like that, you know, it'll wash out, and then we don't have to worry about the engine smoking or anything like that. So it's a good idea to always wash the engine or wash components of the bike, and then we'll polish it later on. But you know, just before we assemble, put our final finishing touches on it, just to get a quick wash so that there's no extra debris on the surface. So I just came for lunch. I'm heading back to the garage, taking this along with me. That is Rust-Oleum engine enamel. This is specially made for the engine so that you know, when you spray it, it doesn't flake off. It's probably the best, some of the best stuff that you can get out there for when it comes to painting the engine. It is 500 degrees Fahrenheit. This stuff is specially made for the engine, and it is a low black that I've chosen to go with. So this stuff works. At least that's what I've been told. This stuff is kind of hard to source, but if you know where to get it from, you should be good. And here we are. This is what the finished product looks like. I'm very happy with how the bike has turned out. As you can see, I've put some really comfortable seats on there, but very happy with how it's come out again. And don't forget to subscribe and hit like if you enjoyed this video.